Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding Captain Commando to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Now, Captain Commando by Capcom is not on an Evercade cartridge and can only be found on the original edition of the Evercade EXP, which is no longer in production, or on the Capcom Super Pocket. So only in terms of Evercade releases. Obviously it is available on the Capcom arcade stadiums and beat 'em up bundles and things they've done elsewhere. But Captain Commando was originally released into arcades in 1991 and was developed on the CPS-1 hardware. Now, don't quote me on this, but I always got the feeling that the game was Capcom's answer to Konami's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, essentially building upon what they'd done in Final Fight and giving it a more sort of child-friendly makeover. I remember playing this in arcades around the same time as I played Final Fight and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game on the 4-player unit, and I really enjoyed it. Although I wasn't familiar with any of the characters because most of them were new for this game, or pretty much all of them, I wasn't aware of who Captain Commando was prior to that, as he was a sort of mascot for the covers of some of their games or something. But again, I wasn't familiar with that back at the time, so to me it was all new, fresh characters given that bright, colourful Saturday morning type look, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun, very pulpy sci-fi stuff. Anyway, let's get on to it. So the story of the game, it's set in the far-flung future in Metro City, just like Final Fight, only it's set in the far-flung futuristic year of 2026. Appropriate I'm doing it this year then, I guess. Anyway, some evil alien tyrant called Scumicide and his army of super criminals have come and invaded Metro City. So Captain Commando, Mac the Knife, Ginzu the Ninja and Babyhead have to go and fight them off. That's about it. It's all it really needs. It's fine. So anyway, let's get into breaking down this game, starting with the
gameplay.
As I mentioned earlier, it builds upon Final Fight and takes it further. You've got the standard moves, you've got your punch attacks, your grabs and throws, and your health draining special attack. But it also adds in a dash attack, a very, I suppose, Golden Axe style, and also a bit like, so much like Golden Axe, you have rideable mounts, although instead of being dragon-like things or whatever, this time it is mechs with various different firing capabilities, be it fire, ice or just punching. It supports up to 4 players in the arcades, but obviously on the Evercade, being that it's locked to hardware of handheld devices while you're playing single player, which is a bit of a downside. There's various weapons to pick up as well, be it mallets and knives or various types of guns and rocket launchers. You can see a lot of things that became quite common in later Capcom beat-em-ups appeared for the first time here, or at least I think it was for the first time in this game. There's a number of stages to get through, be it aquariums, museums, a ninja town. It's very over the top. You even end up on an alien planet, and yeah, the crazy wacky flavour really helps add to the, I suppose, the fun feeling of the game. I say it's very Saturday morning cartoon like.
Graphics.
Yeah, as well as looking like a Saturday morning cartoon with very bright colourful visuals, it's also generally quite well animated. Maybe not quite as well as some of the later Capcom beat-em-ups, but there's a lot of character to it. And there's a number of humorous touches with the animation, be it the way enemies or your characters fall down and die after they've been finished off, like characters being chopped in half or flaming and falling down to their knees, things like that. Yeah, maybe that doesn't sound that funny, but it's good wholesome cartoon violence. And as I've been comparing it to Final Fight a few times, well, the graphics or the main sprites aren't quite as big and detailed as Final Fight, but given the 4-player nature of it, it makes sense, and like I said, the game still looks good.
Sound and music.
Got some satisfying and punchy sound effects. Everything works well for what it's supposed to do. I really can't find anything to complain about here. The soundtrack is energetic and slightly futuristic sounding, and yeah, it really complements the gameplay well. Although I wouldn't say anything about it is overly iconic, it is a solid soundtrack.
Overall opinion.
Captain Commando is a classic Capcom belt-scrolling beat-em-up, or whatever you want to call them. Naturally it is better multiplayer, and playing it on the Evercade hardware you can't do that, so I said that is a bit of a mark against it. But it is still a good fun beat-em-up, and in many ways I prefer it to Final Fight, even if it's not quite as iconic. It just has a good sort of fun, well, Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it. And it's very much a shame that it isn't on an Evercade cartridge, as it would be the best or one of the best Evercade beat-em-ups. There's nothing else on the Evercade cartridges really is in the same league as this and Final Fight. And I think without getting Capcom cartridges or Konami cartridges, I don't think that will change. Or Sega maybe, because Streets of Rage. But anyway, if wishes were fishes, we'd spend all day casting nets and all that jazz.
Ranking.
Placing Captain Commando on my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever, I've elected to put it above Techie Packy, but below King of the Fighters 97. And it's marked down a little bit because of the single player thing. Otherwise it would be within the top 20 for sure. Anyway, it puts it at 27 out of 370 something games that I've ranked so far. And I think that's enough for this video, so thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.